Welcome to the Cave of Wonders. This is my man cave in my house. I'm making this video because November is Diabetes Awareness Month, and November 14th is World Diabetes Day. Incidentally, it was 25 years ago this month that I first became a person with type 1 diabetes. So generally speaking, there's three kinds of diabetes. There's type 1 diabetes, which means that your body, your pancreas in your body, does not provide a functional amount of insulin for your body. It's usually because of an autoimmune attack on the pancreas that has killed off the cells that produce insulin. Type 2 diabetes is a lot more prevalent, and it means that your body can still produce some insulin, but it's not using the insulin because maybe it's not sensitive enough to it. So a lot of the treatments for type 2 diabetes are targeted at making your body more sensitive to the insulin that it's producing. And then there's gestational diabetes, which some women have when they're pregnant. And it usually goes away after they give birth. So, in mid-November 2000, I rode with a friend to Las Vegas to attend the Comdex Technology Conference, a technology show. And I felt fine, but we both noticed as we were driving down there that I wanted to stop a lot to use the restroom. And when we finally got to Las Vegas, I couldn't drink enough and I couldn't pee enough, and I was really hungry. This continued for the 2 or 3 days that we were there. My friend that I was with decided to cut the trip short by a day to get me home so that I could go to a doctor and figure out what was going on. When I arrived home, I had lost about 20 pounds and my wife didn't recognize me. Your body uses insulin to convert sugar from your food into energy. So without sufficient insulin, you start to feel really tired and lethargic. And when your body can't make use of the sugar that's in your blood, you have like high levels of blood sugar, then your body starts to try to get rid of that by filtering the sugar out through your kidneys, which means you pee a lot. It also leads to dehydration. Secondly, after your body your body starts to starve for energy, and so it starts trying to harvest energy reserves in your body, which means fat and muscle. This results in weight loss, and it also can produce a dangerous acidic imbalance in the blood called ketoacidosis. So that's dangerous. High levels of sugar in the blood can also create damage to the blood vessels, and particularly like in the retina of the eyes. So that can create problems with your vision. And that all happened to me during this time when I was first diagnosed. So during our drive back from Las Vegas, I even started hallucinating. The morning after returning, I went to a doctor, and they very quickly diagnosed me with type 1 diabetes and told me I needed to start giving myself insulin shots. And I was not comfortable doing that. I wasn't a friend of the needle, so to speak, and so I politely asked the doctor if he could give me the first shot. And that was the last time, really, that anyone gave me an insulin injection, because I had to very quickly learn and become comfortable doing that for myself from then on. I was prescribed a glucose meter to test the level of sugar in my blood by poking the skin and producing a small drop of blood, and then having the meter analyze that and give me a reading to to tell me where my blood sugar level is. I was also prescribed a fast-acting insulin called Humalog that I was to give myself before a meal, and anytime that my blood sugar level was too high, I'd give myself a little extra insulin to try to bring it down. And I was also given a prescription for a vial of an insulin called NPH, which was a long-acting insulin, and I had to give that to myself twice a day. The Humalog came in an insulin pen, kind of like this one, and you just put a needle tip on it, and it's really easy to dial up the amount of insulin that you need, and then you push the plunger, and you can keep using that. And the NPH came in a vial, kind of like this, and I had to use needle syringes that way. So it was only a year or so before my doctor gave me a prescription for a new kind of long-acting insulin to replace the NPH, and that was called Lantus. And Lantus was another pen like this, and I would give myself a shot of Lantus once a day. I got a fanny pack to carry all this stuff around in, and then later I moved everything to a man purse that also doubled as my wallet. A couple of years after I was diagnosed, we moved to the Salt Lake City area, and I didn't bother finding a specialist to help me manage my diabetes. I just went to our family doctor and had him write the prescriptions for the supplies I needed, and I managed my insulin by myself. I felt pretty confident that I could do that. Fast forward to 2011, 2012, it was New Year's Eve, and I just had a really pronounced feeling of dread, and I couldn't understand what was going on, but something just felt really wrong, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it. But eventually I decided I need to find a specialist that I could work with to help me manage my diabetes better. And I have been running half marathons, so I was really excited when I found an endocrinologist who was also type 1 diabetic and also a runner. And when I met with him, he told me about all the technology that was available. He told me about continuous glucose monitors, or CGMs, that will take a reading of your blood sugar level every 5 minutes and kind of give you a good idea of the trend of what's happening inside your body. He also told me about insulin pumps, and I wasn't really interested in insulin pumps at that time, but the endocrinologist really recommended a CGM, and it made sense to me because it provides you with all this data of what's going on inside your body throughout the day. And so I was able to customize my insulin treatments and by what was happening to my blood sugar, and I didn't have to worry so much about my blood sugar going low in the middle of the night, because that CGM would sound an alarm or something like that. So the CGM was a game changer. I still think it is by far the most valuable tool available for diabetics, type 1 diabetics. Around 2015, I learned about an open source project called OpenAPS. And OpenAPS was software that allowed you to take the data off of your CGM and use it to drive an insulin pump. And so that way you would have software that would say, the blood sugar is high, we need to inject some insulin, or the blood sugar is low, so we need to withhold any insulin and so people kind of dubbed it an artificial pancreas because it was doing some of that work that a non-diabetic's body kind of does on its own. And so in order to do something like this, I first had to get a pump that would work with the OpenAPS software. And so I found one on an online classified site, and then I had to build this little computer rig that would talk to the CGM, get the blood glucose levels, and use that to decide how much insulin the pump should be giving me. And so this is a little computer called an Intel Edison with a rechargeable battery in it, and I would carry this around in my pocket along with this Medtronic pump that I bought. It was pink because it was used, and you just get what you get. And then I also had my CGM receiver as well. So I was carrying around all these little gadgets. But it really was pretty revolutionary. The OpenAPS, some of the users of OpenAPS didn't even bother giving themselves any insulin when they ate. They just waited for OpenAPS to dose them insulin when it saw that their blood sugar was going up. And then, so that was awesome. And several of the commercial insulin pump companies were already talking about making hybrid closed loop systems that were like OpenAPS, but they were still, years away. So finally in 2020, I transitioned to a Tandem T-Slim X2. In fact, that's what I'm using right now. If I get into my pocket, here's a Tandem T-Slim X2, and it's connected to an infusion site that's attached to my body through a tube. And the Tandem does a lot of what OpenAPS does. It's not nearly as aggressive, which I think was part of what they needed to play it safe to get it FDA approved and all that kind of stuff. But now, I have it's all integrated pump, CGM receiver, and the software that it needs to make the decisions about my insulin dosing is right there in one device. It's pretty cool. And then over the years, I've found some oral supplements that have helped me kind of manage my blood sugar levels, including taurine, vitamin K2, vitamin D3. I also started taking a drug called metformin that's usually prescribed to type 2 diabetics, but it helps type 1s as well. And then in late 2022, my endocrinologist told me that he had seen some good results with type 1 diabetics using GLP-1 medications. It's kind of like Ozempic and Wegovy, these weight loss type 2 diabetes drugs. And so he said, you can do this, but you have to do it off-label. So, you're a type 1 diabetic. You can try to get your insurance to pay for it, but most likely they won't, and they didn't. But I wanted to try it, so we went for it. Usually with the GLP-1 medications, you start at a very low dose, and you wait until your body can tolerate it, because it makes you nauseous, and it can cause digestion issues, which it did. But immediately when I was taking this, I was taking a medication called Mounjaro, and immediately after starting Mounjaro, I noticed that my insulin requirements were a lot less, like 30 to 40% less insulin than what I was using before. And over the next few months, I actually lost about 30 pounds, or about 15% of my body weight. So that was kind of nice. I had such good luck with that low dose that I just stayed on that low dose, and I'm still on it, to almost 3 years later. And now my insurance covers part of the cost, so that's really nice. It's been quite a ride these last 25 years for both me and my family. I take my hearing aids out at night when I go to sleep. And so if my CGM alarm goes off that I'm too high or too low, my wife has to wake me up. So this affects her as well, very much so. Fortunately, the tandem pump system does a pretty good job, usually, of keeping my levels in a good space during the night when I'm sleeping. So a recent article I read indicated that type 1 diabetics have a significantly shorter lifespan than people who are not diabetic. For example, your average man who is not diabetic has a lifespan estimated to be 79 years. And the average type 1 diabetic, it's 65. So it's like 14 years less, which is really sobering information to read. They did say that if you're diagnosed as an adult, which I was 28, that changes things a little bit. So my average life expectancy as an adult, being diagnosed as an adult, is actually 71, which is still substantially less than 79, but better than 65. So that gives me 18 or so more years if I live that long. I'm hoping that my diligence in taking better care of my condition since that New Year's Eve when I just felt this mysterious dread will buy me, more than 18 years, maybe 30 years. I'm also really optimistic that some new research into stem cells and genetic approaches to anti-rejection. That's one of the problems. You can get like a pancreas transplant, but then you have to take rejection drugs instead of insulin. So it's a trade-off. But there's some new approaches that protect transplanted insulin-producing cells without, protecting the whole immune system. They're targeted approaches, and they're pretty cool. And they're in the trials that they've done, they've effectively cured a handful of people, and so I imagine that's going to roll out in the next few years for people who have very difficult to control diabetes, and then eventually maybe it'll be available for everybody, and that's an exciting prospect. So anyway, 25 years, I'm still here, I'm going strong. And I've always said, anytime that I meet someone that's just diagnosed and kind of dealing with all of the stress and the being overwhelmed with all the information that you have to learn pretty quickly to manage it yourself, I say, there's never been a better time to be a type 1 diabetic. And that's true. And we've got a lot of tools and technology that's available to us. And I've seen a lot of progress in the last 25 years since I was diagnosed. And anyway, happy World Diabetes Day on the 14th. And I hope that I've done my part to make you more aware for Diabetes Awareness Month, which is November. Thank you.